Together we banished the ignorance of old night. But you betrayed me. You betrayed us all. You stole power from the gods and lied to your sons. Mankind has only one chance to prosper. If you will not seize it, then I will! So let it be war!
Well, I didn't know that this video existed until today, and my good friend Johan suggested it to me. He's in the back room right now. Hello, everybody. I am your host, Lord Captain Commander Dunn, and I am just going to be responding to this video. Why do YouTubers keep misunderstanding postmodernism? So basically we're going for videoception, I suppose. Let's bring in our good friend, Mr. Johan.
Is everything ready? Do it. Thousands of souls extinguished by the push of a button. Understand, Yuri? This is only the beginning.
Yes, indeed. Hello, everybody.
I am going to put this at 2x speed, just so you're aware.
Oh, I would recommend putting the subtitles on, because this person always likes to rattle on.
Okay, let's test it out, see how it goes at 2x speed, and if it's not legible, we'll reduce it down to 1.5 or 175.
So
I think it would be
wanted to watch this
doable.
video with you guys. I thought about it. It's a channel called Literature Devil, and it's got a video. It's a video, and this is this guy's Rantsona, man in a suit. I do love the creative power of that. You know, like that's something I've never seen before on this platform. And it's called Rings of Power. Galadriel is secretly a Mary Sue, and here's why. And here's why. H Bomber guy is suffering out there somewhere. Amazon's Rings of Power was the latest in a long string of modern media, sus, that wished to benefit from a well-loved franchise but hated the idea of actually appeasing the built-in fan base. Sus. And unfortunately, the Rings of Power was yet another franchise that championed a blatant Mary Sue as their main character. Sus. So now the Great Galadriel joins Rey and Captain Marvel. Yeah, let's just name all the things that we hate in the ranks of shameless Mary Sues. But let's find out why, and more importantly, what traditionally heroic Galadriel might look like, presumably. What I think is interesting about this, this is 40 minutes, so it's like that Authentic Observer video that we watched. And I thought about watching this because there's a few actually interesting Rings of Power critiques that I've seen, and there's a lot of like really, really dumb ones. And Galadriel being a Mary Sue, absolutely does not track to me, and I have an opinion. I've seen the show. The reason why is for two reasons. First of all, Mary Sue has lost all meaning. Back in the day, people used Mary Sue to identify a character or Gary Stu, male equivalent, to identify a character usually in fan fiction, but not always, that was written usually as a self-insert or usually for wish fulfillment, would be one of the two things. And there are a few hallmarks of that, one of which is that it's a character that can do everything super well. Unfortunately, that does not track for several reasons. First of all, Galadriel is only kind of good at what she does. She's good at fighting, but like, she's not incredibly like confident necessarily a lot of the time. Like, she hesitates when going west to Valinor, and then she is primarily at the mercy of simultaneously the sea and also a sea monster, and is only saved by Halbrand. I'm not going to spoil the twist there. And then not only does she technically lose the only big battle that she's in, because while it seems like they are winning at first, one of the human characters, I forget his name, triggers the mechanism that causes Mount Doom to spew all of this. I forget. There's a technical term for it, the type of like ashen soot. Which realistically, I mean, if these were real people and this was really happening to them, they would all die. But a bunch of them don't. I suppose for simultaneously for narrative purposes. Who knows? Maybe they have Eru Iluvatar's grace given to them. I don't know. But
I love how they just, this is so bad they have to resort to God did it.
Exactly. Also, like, yeah, Gabriel is definitely not a Mary Sue. What are you meaning?
She's got a lot of the bad traits of a Mary Sue, at the very least.
Oh, definitely.
Very frustrating.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
You have not seen what
I have seen. You have not seen. I was immediately like, yes, you're going with this strong argument right there at the beginning. Well, bravo. Yeah, she's weak because God had to intervene. That's definitely not a Mary Sue trope at all. You know, a Mary Sue is supposed to be fighting gods and demons, and then everybody is happily living happily ever after, with the power of friendship.
Yeah, it was. I'm like, I think one of the major problems with Galadriel is that I don't think the writers understand that she's a bad person.
She's also not likable.
That is also true. Yeah, she's very, very unlikable. There's a lot of writing. There's a lot of like really, really bad traits that they saddle her with for seemingly no reason other than just they don't understand what makes a likable character. And it's
Indeed.
very frustrating.
And don't forget, we saw the Rings of Power. We did it together. And I already had immediately regrets watching it.
I think we all regret watching that piece of crap. No. I think if grammar is pretty objective. Like if somebody has bad grammar and tells them to get needs to get an editor, that's you don't need to as well. No. Oh, that's so dumb. Yeah, it would be nice if you quantified me. Things. Yeah. Since the show's just a bad, awful show. It's so boring.
I agree. I almost fell asleep.
It's not even fun to laugh at.
Done. By the way, do you mind if I post your stream link in Literature Devil's Creative Corner?
Okay. Hey, go for it.
All right. I always need to make sure that people, are agreeing with this. So.
Hey, James. Yeah, we're just defending Literature Devil. I saw the thing. And I'm like, oh, he's going against Literature Devil. Oh, so he's an idiot then.
Well, it's a 1-year-old video, so don't worry about it. It will definitely not bite people in the back.
No, definitely not. It's still kind of like, dude, you're going to take a shot. You better make it count. And I imagine that he is going to do quite the opposite.
No. If you would have said it would be the opposite, you would be, mildly, how do you say that? Say like, oh, he's going to do the opposite. Okay. He might give a shot. So just hold on to that promise, all right? And tell me at the end of this video if you were amazed upon how wrong you were.
I'm just thinking, like, he's going to attempt and fail to take a shot.
But how much of attempting failure?
What happens
That's
essentially
the question.
is she loses and they have to flee Mordor. They call it the Southlands in the show because it is only becoming Mordor, and is then tricked by Halbrand and manipulated. Mm-hmm. And makes the best of it by the end of the series.
No, she's kind of the only one who just abruptly realizes, oh, maybe he's suspicious, even though I've been stupidly saying he should be king of the Southlands. And then she just abruptly out of nowhere decides, after hearing a weird thing about the unseen world, decides, oh, we should look it up. And even though he's been saying, I'm not this person, I pulled this off a dead man, and he's never lied. And weirdly enough, he's never lied to her, which kind of just, Halbrand's such a bad character.
Yeah, and then she forces him to become a king. It's like no, you need to become a king. These people need you. Like, I don't want this.
Yeah, it's like Jon Snow all over again.
And the worst thing is like, haha, I have been evil all along. And it's like, Oh my god! Who would have thought?
Everybody with a brain. I think that Dragon Demands was predicting it like 3 or 4 episodes in advance, which is really funny.
Yeah, I think even Neurotic actually already predicted it in the second episode, I believe.
Well, Nerdrotic had leaks to go off of,
Yeah, that's cheating. That's not.
but yeah, it's still pretty freaking bad.
Also, if you look at as you look at the main chat of his of the person, it's like,
Yeah.
they hate the real fandom. Quag.
I think they do actually.
Yeah, but they're saying it about Literal Devil that he hates the real fandom. That Rings of Power is supposed to be the real fandom. Mm. Ah, this is fun.
Indeed.
There are seriously people defending Rings of Power? Apparently, yes, there are.
I bet when the villain thing, villain is the best thing about it. When say, yeah, the Woman King was apparently pretty bad. I haven't seen it. Yeah, there are people who seriously defend Rings of Power. It's kind of pathetic. But yeah, what can you do?
Well, they're gonna give it. They're gonna give you the meat, and they're gonna give it to you raw.
Fucking line. Like, what is? Do you understand that sounds like he wants to us get pounded by Elrond, right?
Yes, I know.
It's
That
like,
makes it even more worse.
yeah, it's so stupid. Like pretty much all of the dialogue in that show is fucking awful.
Yep,
And
I 100% agree upon that.
You know what? I kind of want to react to the School of Movies podcast about Rings of Power. You remember them? Yeah, you remember them?
I thought you quitted on those people. No, no.
No, I never quit. I just lost interest.
And now they put a Rings of Power version on it as well. Oh no.
Yeah.
That's even worse than fucking Framing Monsters. And Framing Monsters was worse.
Framing Monsters was pretty bad, yeah.
It still gives me a fucking headache, that one. With the asylum. Yeah, this person is crazy, and therefore he's a good guy. Uh-huh. He wants to uphold the society. Well, let's continue, I guess.
Yeah.
But she faces a lot of trials and tribulations in the show. A Mary Sue traditionally would be, if she was Galadriel, she would figure out who Halberd was immediately, and then she would defeat him herself, probably without any help.
She already did that in the first scene, don't get me wrong, but she beat the Frost Troll immediately with nobody helping.
Yeah.
Scaling mountains with no help, with just a dagger.
Yeah, that whole. I think that's not necessarily Mary Sue so much as just that looks so ridiculous. I can't take you seriously at all right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Why are you so serious?
And why so serious? I don't know, because I'm watching a piece of crap.
The Rings of Power dialogue. It's something. Something about rocks and floating.
Why does a rock float? Why sink and a ship floats? Because it looks up. That's so dumb. Hey, Brain Prince, how's it going? Good to see you.
Yeah. Never gets old.
Yeah.
Never gets old.
I'm just like so much in that is just so bad. Like,
or the fighting scenes.
Yeah, the fight scenes are really bad. There's a lot of like bad technical stuff in this.
And with the training montage where she beats everybody. Like everybody. It's like,
and it's so horrifically badly choreographed. It's not even funny.
It's like,
We
oh
should-
no, she almost touched me. I will fall down now.
Yeah, it's School of Movies. Like they actually liked this, and they actually thought the Harfoots were their favorite part of the show, which is kind of amazing because the Harfoots are easily the worst part.
Yep.
And like they're the most evil people. Like they are actively going to murder their friends. It's
That's why they always say, you need friends with benefits. You can throw them off a cliff, I guess. It's free loot.
that's not what friends with benefits are, but okay, we'll go with that.
According to them, it is.
Virgin Harfoots. There's also that. Yeah, this.
What was the sea always right? I don't know. Oh wait, it was.
Legolas did some stupid stuff. Not really.
It fit with the theme of Legolas. He was just a Chad that just rode down on a fucking board, shooting orcs down while gliding down.
Yeah.
He was literally a dude that was like, I am too good for this world. And then Gambly is like, oi, you bastard, you're stealing my kills again.
That's
And that was the whole dynamic. He had a valid reason to be a Mary Sue, technically.
Yeah, he's thousands of years. He's at least a few hundred years old.
Yeah.
Being a few hundred years old tends to give you some skills, I would say.
Fucking hell. Lord and Dunn. And you went, yeah.
Remember, train in the town square. Yeah, that was bad.
That was I think that it was one of the worst scenes. Maybe the siege on the little town that was on fire was also fucking silly. The woman that beats an orc.
Stupid.
The fucking woman that beats an orc with what was it? A kitchen knife or something?
Because I think it was a sickle, actually. It's technically worse.
It's like, oh my god. And not just, a stab and then, the orc screams. No, it's a big giant decapitation.
Yeah.
What is worse, Ring of Power or Wheel of Time? Well, Wheel of Time is watchable. The Ring of Power is not watchable because there is nothing to look at. At least in Wheel of Time, you have some decent dialogue. It's not good, but it's decent enough.
I think Rings of Power is technically better.
Oh.
I think that Wheel of Time is worse because there's a lot worse writing and there's higher levels of stupid as well as much lower production design.
Okay, if you put it that way. But they're both fucking the trash of the trash, right?
Yeah, I think that the
Good.
I think they're both trash. I think that the I would say let me think. What was I about to say?
Have $1 billion, only one set.
Yeah, I think that the writers of Rings of Power are far dumber in terms of their interview presence. I've seen what they say in interviews, and a lot of it's pretty freaking asinine. Like they don't understand people, and they definitely don't understand Tolkien. It's really pathetic.
Yeah, but I think still that the Rings of Power actually had a worse design on armor than Wheels of Power of Wheels of Time.
It was pretty bad, but at least you don't have freaking Lord Zed outfits in.
True. The fucking Lord Zed. Fucking hell. Still disturbs to look at.
Yeah, that Lord Zed freaking Lord Zed costume for this John Shan sucked. And the finale of Wheel of Time was a lot worse than the finale
At
of
least,
Rings of
Mount Doom
Power.
exploded, and everybody died. The end. Let's hope they're not making a sequel. If they are going to make a sequel, I'm going
They're
to...
making a season 2.
No. No.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, boy. I need
Yeah.
to have a good liquor for that one.
Wing of Rings of Time, Wheel of... Indeed. Yeah, they kind of do look the same. I would actually concur with that.
I got confused when reading that old space junk, and then I was like, yes, of course, that way. But yeah, the argument here is actually absolutely wrong. Not gonna lie. She definitely does have the feeling of, she doesn't need anybody to help her to win anything. The fight scenes, she wins always. She's always right. And it's like, when she spoke to the goddamn queen, it's like, queen consort, it's like, I am far more superior than you, so bow before me instead. That kind of feeling she gave away, and then she even said it like, I don't know what she even said anymore. It was something silly, and then she turns out to be in the prison.
So
and not even beheaded.
So what I mean by Lord Zed, the Shan Wheel of Time TV show. So when I'm talking about Lord Zed, this is what I mean.
Yeah, that one. That was so horrible to look at, that one.
Yeah. These look like frickin' Lord Zed.
The fucking minions, yes.
Yeah. Like that looks like Lord Zed. It looks like
also, the
out of
queen
Power
was
Rangers.
looking horrible. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, they really did a number. Postmodernism. Sorry, Jack Marlowe / I'm not convinced you're not an AI bot, so if you want to keep chatting, go for it. But yeah, move the skin, then you'll have something. Yeah. Well, it's just it looks like Lord Zed out of Power Rangers, and I'm just like, Lord Zed is a Power Rangers villain who's meant to be somewhat incompetent and kind of hilarious. This is supposed to be a show made for adults that takes itself somewhat seriously. So let's keep going.
Do that. In fact, she kind of loses. She loses out to him in a pretty major way. He isn't able to corrupt her, so she retains herself at a certain dignity, but she does lose. Overall,
no.
Sauron comes
she doesn't lose at all. Not gonna lie.
With the long view of knowing that he does go on to make the One Ring. Now, of course, he doesn't come out on top.
Oh yeah, she made the fucking rings. I remember.
Yeah.
I was like, no, don't do that, please.
Yeah, it's just like he's trying to make a ring. Trot, don't make the ring. If you need to
he
leave,
literally said it as well to her, right?
Yeah.
Writings,
it's like,
as far,
you're not
he's
supposed
relatively well
to make the
positioned.
ring.
Things have proceeded such that he will be empowered going forward. Pyroclastic flow, I believe pyroclastic flow is the term for that particular.
Pyroclastic, wait. Pyroclastic flow? Really?
That's what is the response for a volcanic spread. Like that's what he was referring to earlier.
Okay, yeah.
So.
It erupted. Use basic words. It's easier.
She does.
Well, that is the technical flow of what exactly the curtain of ash and fire coming out of a volcano is. So it's
volcanon.
Yeah. So let's keep going.
Survive improbable or impossible odds, but I don't really think that's a Mary Sue behavior. Is Aragorn a Gary Stu? I mean, we see him fight.
Oh, sod off.
And kill
Aragorn is not a Gary Stu. He has a lot of problems.
Where
not everybody likes
Frodo
him.
And Aragorn are talking, and then they see that Sting has lit up blue, and then Aragorn tells Frodo to run, and he turns around, and there's dozens and dozens and dozens of Uruk-hai coming up the hill, and Aragorn draws his sword and just walks towards them.
That's the end.
It's hard for a single swordsman to fight two swordsmen at the same time, let alone like 100 or whatever, right? there's a lot of Urukai walking towards him there. And they're in a relatively open area. I mean, there's some trees and some like stone structures that have gone to ruin around them, but for the most part, and they start out separated as well. They're a little bit separated from the other companions in the Fellowship. So he really, I mean, how Aragorn survives that, you're just supposed to think, oh, he's a really good warrior. He just beats them. Or he survives, or he makes a fighting retreat. And he escapes. You know?
Beat him.
He does really well.
Have you not seen the ending? They literally fall down because the ring gets destroyed and every orc gets literally sucked into the earth.
Wrong. Quick quote. You're wrong piece of the trilogy. He's talking about Fellowship of the Ring, the first one. You're thinking of the third one.
Oh. But there he also draws his sword, and then he says, for Frodo, and then he charges it recklessly in towards it.
No, he just fights them and then backs away up the stairs, and he gets slowly overwhelmed.
Oh, the one part where the Urukai. Yeah. He gets fucking outnumbered at all. It's very good.
And then you have he jumps off, knocks down a couple, and then Legolas and Gimli come in and help him out.
Yeah, because the tower is getting overrun, and then eventually they seal the tower, and then after that, the goddamn fucking bastard comes around, and they all scream like, yeah, and then, you know, the guy with a flame stick comes around and be like, yeah, and then all hell breaks loose.
That's Helm's Deep.
Oh.
Yeah, wrong.
Oh, for fuck's sake. He's such a good guy, Aragorn. Come on. He's not a Mary Sue because he has his own flaws. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, he is relatively indecisive. He's kind of a Paragon character, and Paragon characters tend not to have flaws necessarily.
Well, he is smart. He uses the sword himself to blind the Sauron eye, thinking that he has the ring, and therefore, paying. Yeah.
Not really to blind him, just to distract him.
Which helped.
Mm-hmm.
He's a well-out-thought character. Not gonna lie. With his tragic story, because he's in love with an elf, and well, you know, the elf, even if he dies, the elf will be heartbroken.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because he's a warrior, and he survives, and they end up almost everybody surviving. Of course, if you've seen Fellowship of the Ring, Boromir dies. A bunch of the other Uruk-hai are fighting other members of the Fellowship. The Fellowship, over the course of the fight, start to reunite, and then they try to rescue Boromir and Merry and Pippin, and they fail, and Merry and Pippin are taken captive, and Boromir is slain. But these characters kill a lot of people, or a lot of orcs, I should say, a lot of Uruk-hai. That's, if being hyper competent is all that it takes to make a Mary Sue, then like a lot of Tolkien's characters come off like Gary Stews. But that's not really the point, is it? You know, sometimes a character is supposed to be inspiring because they're incompetent, and if you're not inspired, maybe that's an issue with the delivery, but that's not an issue of them being a Mary Sue. Unless you want to accuse J.R.R. Tolkien of making Aragorn a self-insert who can do no wrong and who overcomes all obstacles with relative ease due to how perfect and special he is.
Let's kind of break this down. Aragorn doesn't resolve the final conflict at all.
Nope. Frodo does, and Sam.
Yeah, and technically Gollum. Yeah, they're... And...
If Gollum would not have chewed off Frodo's finger, the Fellowship would have failed.
Yeah. Yeah, they're trying to do whataboutism and failing. Let's keep going.
Because that's not true of Galadriel and Rings of Power either. But whatever. So I saw this video basically, and I was thinking, oh man, I can't wait to watch this video. I'm sure it's gonna be a hell of a thing. But I clicked this guy's channel because I've never seen him around before. And these are kind of the styles of thumbnails that he does, which are neat. I like them fine enough. Then I saw this video. Postmodern art is a plague on modern art. Channel trailer. It's his channel trailer. I need to watch this with you guys. I need to watch this. I'm sorry. I studied postmodern literature when I was in university, and I have never seen
So did I.
a YouTuber with a Rantsona have a take on postmodernism. It does not exist. This will be the first video of its kind, if that's the case. Aragorn isn't very badass, except how he smokes his pipe. I think Aragorn's kind of badass. He's a tough fighter. I mean, there's some scenes like in Moria.
Okay, to that person who said that, you're an idiot.
Exactly. It doesn't exist. What? Postmodern art doesn't exist? Sucks to be you, but it does. Right?
Yeah, what do you call a lot of the any of the villains pushovers compared to her? Yeah, a lot of the villains are pushovers compared to Galadriel. Also, I don't think they understand that Galadriel is psychotic. I don't think they get that at all because she's clearly nuts, and that's kind of a major part of Mary Sue characters is that as well as kind of weirdly showing that the writers themselves are amoral pieces of garbage who think if this is a good person, what do they think a bad person is? Oh, they just think a bad person is somebody who doesn't like their stuff because that's it. They're just complete idiots. Oh, what?
Because
Okay, sod off. No. No, that can't be true. No way. Are you
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
are you serious? Are you actually are you legit? Are you taking the piss right now? Is that's not a thing. That can't be true.
But Dunn, I told you that this guy would be this person would be very fun to listen to. It will get worse, trust me. Only from here, we finally have reached the mark where things are gonna be fun.
Drink. They have no respect for their antagonist. While making the heroes to antagonists. That is actually a very fair assessment. I think it also comes down to they're not intelligent.
So
at all.
Allow me to tell you what postmodernism is, all right? It's art, technically, that is radicalized in such a way that made the view of the person think of other art types differently. So technically, they want to show you a different side of their view of art, like maybe modern art, for instance, is one of them. Futurism, maybe, and then they want to let you see something from their point of view in a radical way. Their art. So a banana on a sheet. There you go. Postmodernism.
Not quite. So the strict definition is it has a general distrust of grand theories and ideologies, as well as a problematic relationship with any definition of art.
Well,
that's the strict definition of postmodernism.
Okay, well, I just wanted to tell you that that's what I knew of it.
I know that's.
I was very sucking at art in the history part. Not gonna lie, I was more better in drawing things.
I get you.
But I just don't like modernism. I don't like postmodernism art. Not at all. I just like the old school things, actually, like Dali. Those things are fucking awesome to look at. I believe that is futurism, right? Yeah, that's futurism, if I'm correct. You have futurism. You have you have one with speed, one with dreams, one with other stuff. There's so many art. It's not funny to listen them all up or look them up. Just art. There you go. Basic art. But yeah, he wants to now look at this, and I'll tell you this. From here on out, from his point of view, from here on out, it's gonna go wild. Especially around the 11-minute mark.
Oh, yay.
In the books, where he's off the heads of goblins left and right. Tolkien describes it. It's very cool. I always thought Aragorn was a very heroic character. I like him a lot. It's a good thing that only one Uruk-hai carried a bow. In the film, only Lurtz is his name. I don't know if you knew that. They gave him a name. Has a bow that he uses in that scene. In the books, there's multiple types of orcs. There's goblins, and there's orcs from Mordor, and there's Uruk-hai, all kind of in that party of orcs in that fight. And multiple of them shoot bow and are full of arrows. I don't think the orcs are necessarily very good shots, but in the book, it's a little bit more even. In the film, I think they make it a little bit more melodramatic, but I need to see what this is. I need to know but we are going to 1.25 this.
Whatever happened to the modern artist? Even before the days of Ludwig van Beethoven or William Shakespeare or Dante Alighieri, the artist has had a critical place in the fabric of society. They are the commentators, the contrarians, the voices of the people, the brutal critics of the status quo, telling truth beneath a mask of lies, a mask of story. As Oscar Wilde said, man is least himself when he talks in his own person. Give him a mask and he'll tell you the truth. But when you look at the works being produced today and the attitudes of the people producing them, one thing becomes miserably clear. There's something terribly wrong with our media, isn't there?
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so here's the thing. I disagree with this, and here's why. I already disagree. I hate to already be disagreeing 38 seconds in, but his description of how artists used to exist in society is not accurate. Even if you just look at writing, I mean, if you go back far enough to like medieval literature, which if you're a guy like we talked about Tolkien just now, if you're a guy like J.R.R. Tolkien, he studied medieval literature, so he was familiar with these texts. If you go back to that period, who was educated enough to write would have been a lot more selective. So it's actually rather unlikely that they would have necessarily been the voice of the people as such. They were much more likely to be, if they were working in churches, they would have been priests. If they were, historians of various types, they would have been documenting different things. But voice of
Let's go back. Ludwig van Beethoven,
Yes.
William Shakespeare, Dante Alighieri. Those are specific things. Fiction didn't really exist, or at least art didn't necessarily exist until the 16th century. Like 13th or 14th centuries.
Well, art did exist. It's just
But it was-
not like recognizable in a good way. But
Yeah.
writing text, oh, definitely.
Yeah. And
And
I would definitely call Dante Alighieri very much voice of the people, same with Shakespeare.
yes, exactly. Did you know that Shakespeare actually literally stole all the equipment of one theater and then built a new one because he didn't want to pay the guy who was hired that was building the goddamn theater in the first place? He's like, yeah, we're gonna perform here, definitely, and then steals all the equipment and then builds it somewhere else, just for the people.
Flash fiction didn't exist. Should we tell them what fictional means? Yeah, let's.
they were much more likely to be, if they were working in
But
churches, they would have been priests.
How about
If
myths
they were,
and
historians of
those
various types, they would have
things?
been
They
documenting
did
different things.
exist, tales,
But
right?
voice of the people. I don't even know if Shakespeare is someone that I would present that way. Like let's look again. Dante, Shakespeare, Beethoven. These are not people that I would have. I mean, commentator. I think Shakespeare has social commentary in his plays, but there's a degree to which I think a lot of what Shakespeare does in his plays is kind of make fun of people. He pokes fun at people. Like a character like that would be like Polonius. A character he's noble. He's a noble, but he's very pompous, and he's somebody that you don't even necessarily feel all that bad for when he dies. In Hamlet, but a character like that. I did also study Shakespeare in college. I mean, obviously one course briefly, but such is the life of an undergraduate student, I suppose. It's not that you can't find commentary in these things. It's that like a lot of what Shakespeare was doing. Shakespeare was considered very crass in his day, so he was poking fun quite a bit. And I think that there's a lot of commentary to be found in there. And Shakespeare among these, I would say, might be most akin to a voice of the people because, quote unquote, I think because he was producing for mass appeal. It was very difficult. He got most of his money when his plays were being shown from the people who attended, which were called groundlings. Groundling referred to the people who would attend in the theater. There would be people who would have higher seats, and these would be people who, some of them would even be paying him to work, right? Or be paying artists generally. People who could afford to commission things. People who were patrons of the arts, famous people, wealthy people, aristocrats, monarchs. These people would have higher up seats. But the people who were on the ground, standing, kind of near where like a pit would be, if you visualize a modern theater, people who would stand in that area by the stage, these were called the groundlings, and they would be what his core audience was, and they were considered to be, and material made for them was considered to be very lowbrow. So there's a lot of like cheap humor in Shakespeare. If you read Shakespeare, I think because the language.
So what I mean is fiction, but not. Yeah. So yes, like art didn't necessarily. Dante, the people. Yeah.
Well, you could say sculptures are still art, so technically that also exists. But
at the very least, upper middle class. Yeah, as robust and efficient commentator. Yeah, he was pretty voices of the people. Maybe voice of the people isn't necessarily the best term. Since I guess it could be just, and well, it doesn't mean the peasantry. It just means kind of the people necessarily.
The people that are living in a city.
Or
Just
the
the
people of the time.
Exactly. And having a cool, lovely little story with drama, action, and, a good ending is a very important part in those plays.
Hmm. Agreed.
And like the cheap humor that Shakespeare, if you read Shakespeare, I think because of the cheap humor, oh my god, no. We're here. We have arrived.
Let's keep going.
Which feels very archaic to us. It's very easy to think of him, especially because he studied it in academia so much, as being this very highbrow creator. But Shakespeare is considerably lowbrow. I think Romeo and Juliet is a very I would say in a lot of ways very low art, because it's and people have an issue with this. Oh my god, you're calling Shakespeare low art. No, it's just that type of thing. You're talking about something produced.
Do you think that Romeo and Juliet is a low piece of art?
It's definitely one of his lesser plays. It's not terribly good by comparison to his old stuff. His other
True.
stuff, I mean.
But it's not that low. It still follows everything that it needs to be in a story, technically.
Mm-hmm.
Used for mass appeal. It's got it's got a big romance in it. Oh, it's got a few fight scenes thrown in. Oh, it's got a lot of easy humor thrown in for laughs. The idea was to keep people's attention. And Shakespeare, believe it or not, was competing with somebody in a practical setting. In the theater, when there would be people who were functionally like peasants attending this, I mean, literally, but people who were lower class attending these plays, in and around and outside the theater, there would be prostitutes, because there were so many people in attendance, you could find patrons. And Shakespeare essentially had to compete with these people to keep the attention of these lowbrow attendees.
Yes. How about that? He had to compete with prostitutes, apparently. His whole childhood, he has been working day and night to beat these prostitutes, to get the money he needed for the theater.
The false equivalences. I'm just like, what does it have to do with anything? That's my question too. Why does this have to do with anything? Yeah, I was like, and?
Right? So in a way, Shakespeare was kind of the voice of the people, in that he was desperately trying to keep their attention so that they wouldn't go fuck or do anything else instead. So again, there's a lot of humor in his plays. It's the kind of thing you expect actually from a Hollywood film in some regards. I mean, there's your humor beats in it, there's your action sequences, there's your romance in it. There's kind of something on every level. And I don't know. I don't know if I would consider. I mean, any of these artists like the way that we think of people like Shakespeare now, right? We think of them as being these like important historical figures who shaped their time, but that's not necessarily how they were seen when they were alive, right?
Why does that matter? Since we're kind of talking about them in their both what kind of okay, how do I put this? Something about this just feels really
Sketchy.
bad.
Mm-hmm.
Something feels weird about this. Yeah, I'm just confused. Yeah.
The times.
So
he's trying to deflect the whole argument. That's what he's. What the person is trying to do.
Yeah. So definitely he's trying to deflect. One thing I would also say is that there's definitely an element of this. I'm just something about this feels off. I'm not quite sure how to place it. Let me think for a second. Because something that I would say about this is that, yeah, this is kind of doesn't really matter what was at the time. It's still reflective of the time, and
Exactly.
and there's good commentary about said time in a way that's actually nuanced and actually interesting.
I also think that William Shakespeare was actually an excellent commentator on such topics back in the day, because he literally wrote them down.
He was also very beloved. I would agree with that. We didn't. Yeah, he's being disingenuous. Yeah, there's something about this.
He's playing the Sasuke.
I mean, if you look at painters, a great version of this is like Van Gogh, right? Oh my god, because he was famously never appreciated in life, sold only a handful of paintings, and all to his brother or to people who purchased them through his brother. I believe his brother kind of was known to purchase a couple of his paintings under aliases, actually, and that's very sad when you think about it. That type of thing, an artist not being successful in their life and then being so well liked all these years later. I mean, Van Gogh's one of my favorite painters, but I don't think there's ever been a time where artists were held in high regard or appreciated to a great degree. A lot of the art that survives very well is art that was very lowbrow, made for easy consumption, or it was art that was commissioned by very wealthy people. If you study like any history of art, you'll come across this common theme. Things that were made in like architecture or that had practical uses often survive like dead civilizations. You know, their buildings or their pottery, things like that. But in more like in like pre-modern civilizations, if you think about like the Renaissance and everything following it, in modern civilization, from like medieval to modern, that type of and by the way, that is why I would consider like modern. I think that's fair. I think it's fair to call these all modern artists. I don't disagree with that classification. I just think it's a little odd to frame things this way. You know, has the role of the artist changed over time? I mean, the way that people make money has changed for sure. But I can't imagine. I don't want to put words in the gentleman's mouth. You know, but I don't feel that there's ever been a time where artists were very well respected or held in high regard in society, were very well treated. I can't think of a time in history of any of the civilizations that I'm aware of that we draw cultural inspirations from. You know. I'm reaching back in my mind, and I can't think of anything. So we'll see.
The pursuit of story and art used to begin with craft and end with theme. From dramatic structure, Frankenstein triangle, to the Keystone style of the East, to the Grecian tragedy, to the emergence of the American superhero storytellers from millennia
Here
ago
we
have learned
go.
and perfected their skill.
The
Just legendary
fun
myths or the universal nature
begins.
stories, patterns, and traditions that surpass era and culture. Because wherever one might look, the pursuit of art has always been based in the pursuits of craft. Because only a practiced and perfected craft can convey the full emotional, moral, and perspective of its theme. Craft here referring to the author's ability to maintain verisimilitude, its believability. How believable can they write character? How well can they maintain consistent lines of cause and effect? How cleverly can they weave in theme without breaking said belief?
That's an interesting use of that word. Meaning in this video, since there are other aspects of craft, he writes up there, if you guys can't see that in the red text up top. So, referring to maintain verisimilitude, yeah, believability, I get that. How believable is the character? How consistent is the logic? How cleverly is the theme woven into the story? Yeah, a lot of artists, a lot of authors especially, will tell you that theme is for you guys, right? You want to become a critic, you want to post like YouTube videos or movie reviews or things online, whatever it is that people want to do. The theme is for you guys. For the most part, a lot of artists don't concern themselves with theme whatsoever. In fact, if you read an author like Stephen King,
And then you don't
writing,
sell
if you're an aspiring
stuff
writer, I recommend it.
because you didn't hold your horse to the team. It's very important to have team because it creates believability, and believability sells,
No.
right?
Theme is the message of the story, not
Oh, okay. I thought it was the other way around.
no. Plot is how the story is conveyed. The theme is just what the story is trying to be about. There's a bit of a difference there.
But you do need it, right?
Oh, you do. You have to be fairly consistent about it. You don't have to include a theme if you don't want to. There are some things that just kind of don't have a theme. I would say that a good example of this would probably be what's a good example? Something that's good that doesn't have a theme, or doesn't necessarily have a theme in front of it. Most romantic comedies don't really have themes, but they still function fine. Let me think. Or at least it doesn't have an overt theme. I'd say Nightcrawler is a good example of this. But let's keep going.
It's not like elements of style or anything, but it's the type of book that you want to read to understand.
But I would agree with him that most art authors don't think about the theme when they write a story necessarily. Sometimes they will, but other times they will not. And that's fine. You don't have to have a theme to be necessarily good. There's a lot of kind of weird people like my little sister who like hate genre fiction because she's weird. Just all sorts of snobs like that, but yeah, can be weak, but they can't really be without one. Yeah, that's true. And kind of I would agree with him to a certain extent that theme is for the reader. It doesn't really matter for the author to think about a theme necessarily. So let's keep going.
And the mindset of a writer. And he gives some practical advice as well that I think is very good that I've taken. And one of the things that I like that he says is that he really doesn't care about theme that much. It's not something, he doesn't like plot themes out and then build a story based on that. I think that a lot of people who are critics talk about art this way, and I think that this is not usually how artists think. Some artists will tell you that they started with a theme and built out from there, but the themes that you end up finding in a finished work are not necessarily going to be the thematic inspirations that an artist talks about when they talk about what made them write what they wrote, you know? And I believe we are talking in large part about writers here because we were talking about story writing and character building and stuff. But I want you guys to notice something else so far in this criticism. All of these points are like things that are very much dependent on the viewer. Character believability, consistent logic, the cleverness of the theme, I guess would be the least so, but like even that, there's so much interpretive about theme. Something like this, I find when people talk about story writing like this, it kind of seems like they're building a castle to live in, you know? This is like a perfect defense, I guess, for any belief that you ever want to have about anything. Because I think that there are artists out there who I don't necessarily get or who I don't necessarily think are the greatest, but this is not how I would address their work. I try to meet it on its terms. You know, believability is an interesting critique to have of something, right? Craft referring to maintaining verisimilitude feels like a euphemism for saying, I don't buy it, so it's not very good. Which is funny, because if you're a very obstinate...
Ooh, that is a very bad argument. No.
So done. If you don't add your teams to your great, glorious book, I won't buy it.
Let's kind of be accurate. That's not what he said.
Well, that's how I felt like what he said.
No, so what he said was actually a little bit more insidious than what you were originally saying. He's saying essentially plot holes. If you say the plot holes didn't work, something didn't work for you, that just means that it didn't work for you. There's no craft involved. That's what he is saying there.
What?
Yeah.
So that's just bad.
So let's back up. So he's saying meet the...
You know, believability is an interesting critique to have of something, right? Craft referring to maintaining verisimilitude feels like a euphemism for saying, I don't buy it, so it's not very good.
That's what he's saying. He's saying something. So I would say that it's technically worse than what you assumed that he said. He didn't say anything about theme. What he said was, oh, you don't buy it, therefore it's bad. And it's like, yeah. And the problem is sometimes they will just contradict themselves and just make up rules because they're stupid. Wheel of Time is an excellent example of this. So
damn. So the if you put no efforts in the plot holes, it's no good.
Oh no, it's kind of weirder. Basically, how it works, or at least what he is saying is, let's keep going.
Which is funny, because if you're a very obstinate and narrow-minded person, then you can just kind of say that about any very decent work of art, and it doesn't matter because you didn't buy it, right?
Wow. Did he just made it even worse?
Yeah, he kind of did. It's basically, if it's saying, somebody might be a little bit, how do we say it? Somewhat obstinate, therefore it doesn't necessarily have, therefore verisimilitude doesn't necessarily exist.
Oh boy. That's even worse.
Like I said.
That's what I mean when I say it's very dependent on the reader or the viewer. This kind of audience-based critique is very odd to me. it seems very popular. But I would call this narrow-minded, or at least I would say that it has the potential to embolden narrow-mindedness.
What?
But some of the craft allows the author to keep the audience engaged and, more importantly, invested enough to appreciate its theme. Theme here serving as the other essential element, the other side of the coin, the art to the craft. Because stories should always be about something, a moral or message that the audience can take with them. For example, the craft of the scorpion and the frog introduces us to the characters of frog and scorpion. Inciting incident occurs when scorpion asks frog to take him across the lake. The rising action is frog's initial hesitation, fearing that a deadly scorpion might sting him, and then scorpion reminding frog that should he sting frog while crossing the lake, they would both drown. Frog agrees, and the climax arrives, and frog's fears become reality, and scorpion stings him. And the final part, or denouement, arrives, when frog asks scorpion why, and he doomed them both. To which scorpion says, I couldn't help it. It's in my nature. The theme or central idea of the story tells us that much like scorpions, some people cannot resist their destructive nature.
So this is a very interesting choice, and I think it's actually a valid one for this type of thinking. But this is a fable, right? Like this is like a parable or whatever. I don't. This type of thing. This is so deeply different from how most stories are and have always been written since like Beowulf, which is, to my recollection, if I'm remembering my medieval history course properly, was the first full text to be recorded as being written, the first known full text to be written in the English language. What would have then been Old English. But there's some great translations of it. I would recommend the Seamus Heaney translation. I think it makes it very, very readable. Although I know that there are arguments for others, but I liked that one the best. Something like this. It is very easy to apply this logic to like a fable, isn't it? I mean, this type of thing. You've got your theme, which is like a moral to the story. Notice moral and theme here presented as being somewhat interchangeable. That is very funny. You know what this is? This is didactic thinking. This is like people in politics have this problem. You know, like and it's across both aisles. You know, like when a conservative back in the old days would see a kid playing Grand Theft Auto, they'd be like, "Oh my God, they're teaching our kids to murder like prostitutes," which is, you know, obviously that we make fun of that type of thinking. But I mean, there's progressive versions of that as well, right? Where it's like there's a book about a serial killer, and then you know, maybe he's a killer who kills women, and then, you know, some feminist will post to Twitter, "Oh my God, it's encouraging misogyny towards women and abuse of women." When what it is it's actually offering like a complex portrayal of a character and a setting idea. Art is a lot more complex and abstract than this, but this type of thinking would lead you to make those types of commentaries, right? Because you'd be ferreting out the themes as morals. I don't think thinking about themes is very useful. Not that you never should, but I feel that it's the sort of thing you.
So at least he's kind of on our camp, sort of. Or if he's saying you don't really need to think about theme, that's actually, like, we can kind of get, the theme is not the most important aspect of the story.
It is good to have,
yeah.
but sometimes it always comes with just writing it. Then you can get the team into the writing by just making your writing, I think.
Yeah, moral and theme are different. Let's kind of go with let's kind of define terms here. Theme definition in literature. So the main idea or underlying meaning a writer explores in a novel, short story, or literary work. So central idea, universal truth expressed in a text. So an idea of a theme would be in Tolkien's work that is by the small and simple things that great things are brought to pass. I think that's a fair thing with Tolkien. Let's see. Moral definition. It's a lesson to be learned from a story or event. So it's slightly different. So I would say that I don't think he's conflate. So moral and theme are different.
Yeah, but here you have the lesson, the moral, is that, you know, some people cannot resist their destructive nature, even if it goes against their own interest. So technically, yeah, you could say that is a moral.
Mm-hmm. Let's keep going.
And then the theme would be like trust.
Mm-hmm.
You are an undergrad, you're studying literature. You know, it's kind of, I don't want to mean, it's like baby's first literary critique is find the theme. Where's the theme? You know, they show you stuff like this in high school. At least they used to when I was in high school. It's, I don't know. It's funny. I like that he used this because this is the only type of story, I think, where this type of thinking is very useful. It's literally a morally didactic story. So searching for a moral in it is actually.
What do you mean?
Kind of
what does he mean by didactic?
Culturally, how this story gets deployed.
Didactic. Yeah.
So didactic just means basically it just means it's intended to teach, usually in a moral instruction, as an ulterior motive, usually in terms of being patronizing. 1 second, I will be right back. I need to go to the bathroom. I will be right back.
All right. So technically, yes, it's a teaching story. So it is still a story for children, and therefore it's a didactic story. All right, good. Man, these people are always using way too big words. Yeah. Didactic. It's teaching. Yes, indeed. I don't like how he laughs. Yeah, it's like unnecessary patronizing in literature. All right. But yeah, I still think, that the whole damn thing about Scorpion the Frog can teach people lessons. Like, don't trust everybody. And sometimes when you have trust issues and your worst fate comes true, then, well, sucks to be you. Because nature is cruel. And the scorpion always is, well, evil. That's why the scorpion is evil and not the frog. Use simple words when complicating one complex one. Yeah, indeed. You need to use simple words to explain things to other people. Because not everybody has the same, vocabulary as everybody else. So it's better to be using simple words to clear the opinion that you have to others. Well, speak out your opinion to others. It's like, hey, I don't like this. Instead of saying like, yes, I disagree with the option that is in front of me. Therefore, I wish that it would not have been this way. But therefore, I could have seen it coming in a mile away. I don't know, something like that. Something fishy like that. But yeah, it's always good to see that these even the simple kind of stories actually are very easy and nice to use while explaining things like themes and morals. And I think Literal Devil actually using this actually improves his argument, because you're using a very easy to understand for most people what is going on and what he's talking about, and therefore you can learn from it, which is good, not gonna lie. And then using big giant words is not always the best option. Not always. Because for a lot of cases, it's culturally how the story gets deployed. All right. Good luck figuring out what he means about what this person means about that. I think he means because it's a teaching thing, you can use it everywhere. All right, good. Then Little Devil did a good job, because it's literally teaching you what morals and themes are. Who would have thought that is actually important when discussing morals and themes? But yeah. And since that done is now on the, lovely little toilet, I think it's a good time to tell you about the great story I had today. It is freezing cold. Welcome to winter, everybody. Welcome to Christmas, even though there is no Christmas yet. Snow falling, people's pools freezing over. Those things are happening right now. So I would recommend turning on the heat, because I don't think it's going to be that cold this week, but I think it's going to be very cold later this week. Yeah. Seeing the new casts -4, it's like, ooh, no thanks, technically. D-Winter, yeah. Yes, indeed. T-Winter. The winter is indeed a thing. Last 2 years, I believe, we had a very slow winter, very wet one. Not gonna lie, I was very disappointed about how many times I was like, "Oh my god, we're gonna get snow with Christmas," and then immediately look at outside and it's like, "No," and I'm like, "God damn it, why can I not have nice things?" But yeah, I think this year I might be able to go down a slide with a box, with a good old fashioned box, and then sled down. Will be very fun to do. Not gonna lie, it's cold where I'm at. Where am I at as well? Yeah. Welcome to winter. It's gonna be a harsh one. It's gonna be probably the normal version of it, because 2 years of no winter at all mainly means that there's going to be more of an extreme version coming this year. Let's hope it's not going to be extending till April, because I do want to have a good old-fashioned summer, spring break. So yeah. But what do you guys actually think about this already? Do you think that this person actually has some good points, some valid points, or do you think that this is actually all hogwash? Because I feel still that this person is getting very how do you say that? Trying to bend every single argument and trying to avoid every single thing that Literal Devil is saying, which then which then causes major issues to appear in the arguments. But yeah, wow, man. Hitting the gym was maybe not the smartest move, because tomorrow I will probably have a lot of sour aches in my muscles. That's gonna be hurting. This video is just confusing, a bit scummy. I'm trying to be nice, but they're coming off as purposefully vague. Yeah. Indeed, it is all vague. That's the whole problem. He is being in bad faith to its fit his little narrative and all that is. Yeah, I have a strong feeling that is true, but I don't know for sure. I have not seen everything on this yet, and I hope we're getting something good out of it. I doubt it. I really doubt it, but we can always believe that the person is a kind-hearted person. As you can see, the person is actually using this beautiful, nice little heart for it as well.
Mhm.
Done! You're back!
Yeah.
We missed you, buddy.
Yeah. Didac is teaching, not necessarily patronizing, not necessarily for children either. That's just the definition that I got.
Just teaching a lesson. And LD is doing that pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Teaching the lesson about teams and morals.
I don't think that this would work for something like I don't know. I'm really into there's a book that I'm eagerly awaiting. It's one of the Kingkiller Chronicles. I haven't read it. I don't know if the third one's out yet, but I haven't read it yet. I don't know if you could apply this to like Kingkiller Chronicle. Or I don't know, like Earthsea, Ursula K. Le Guin's. I don't think Le Guin would vibe with this way of thinking at all, reading any of her books about writing, which you guys should. Words Are My Matter is one. I can't remember the other one. I've got it on the shelf over there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even necessarily think that Tolkien would think this way. And I mean, he is a very, like, he does think along, like, sweeping, like, moral critiques, but he's quite abstract. This is very not abstract.
Even when it goes against their own interests, but without a strong structural foundation, the artistry collapses. After all, it's easy to say that story's about something. What isn't so easy is weaving that something into a...
Sorry, I just keep laughing because I'm reminded of the Come bit, the Scorpion and the Monkey. Classic Scorpion and the Monkey. Scorpion and the Monkey. Oh, dude. I can't hear Scorpion and the Frog and not think Scorpion and the Monkey. I'm not going to go look that up right now. If you guys know, you know.
Well-structured narrative that shows us that a story is about something. And a very large part of good writing craft is constructing a narrative with substance, a narrative that naturally leads to moral or message. Or as Neil Gaiman put it, craft is as important as art, because if you get the craft right, the art will follow.
I don't think he was talking about morals and themes necessarily. I would see. I'm gonna nitpick because earlier, our friend here offered up his own specialized for the sake of this video.
I don't think he was talking about that.
Or as Neil Gaiman put it, craft is as important as art, because if you get the craft right, the art will follow.
I don't think he was.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah. If you can get the craft right, the art will follow. Yes, indeed. That's the whole point.
Yep.
And if you then improve upon your art, more craft will follow, and therefore more art will follow. It's an endless loop.
Sorry.
This guy is talking. Don't want to know.
Yeah, that's because I sped him up deliberately so that we could get through it faster.
Yes.
The
speed. What do you devise, craft?
I would say just define you making your skill. I think that's what you would define as craft.
Just talking about morals and themes necessarily. I would see. I'm gonna nitpick because earlier, our friend here offered up his own specialized for the sake of this video definition of craft. I guarantee you that's not what Gaiman meant. When artists talk about craft, they're talking about technical skill usually, and I don't just mean technical skill in the sense of like how straight can you draw a line, or how round can you draw a circle? That type of
What?
how well do you understand grammar? But the manner in which these things are employed, like Monet, for example. You look at one of his paintings, you can see the way that he uses light to create images. That's a matter of his craft. There is a thing that he is doing when he would paint that was more than just, does he know how to use the brush to make certain things happen? It's the second level of craft is, what are you doing with that? Both of these things are kind of bound up in what we mean when we say the craft of an artist. So what Gaiman would be talking about there would be a little bit more comparable to technical skill, and to he's leading into, like, if you get the craft right, the art will follow. What he means by that, probably, I would assume, I hate to assume, but I would assume what he means by that is, if you are making the right technical moves and you understand what it is that you want to create, from that you will create the art that you want to make. The craft building a bridge to creating the work.
Yeah.
And this is just a part of the process. If you're a writer, this is necessary. But what I think is very interesting about that is that that's often antithetical to thematic thinking. So
Antithetical?
this YouTuber is sort of using his way of thinking about theme as craft as probably the negation of how Gaiman would present this idea. So he's actually, it's sort of weird. He's making, like, the opposite kind of point to what I believe Neil Gaiman would say in this scenario. And I've read some of Neil Gaiman's material. It's very interesting. I think that this is probably a distortion.
But with the rise of what we commonly call modern art, has also come a postmodernist attitude. An attitude that, while not inherently negative, has led to a particular school of thought dedicated not only to challenging and mocking the ideas of yesterday, but generations of storytelling tradition. An emergence of creators and media commentators who have rejected the very idea of craft entirely, and that the quality of story lies entirely in the eye of the beholder and the story's chosen themes. And for that reason, I have become referring to this mentality as the subjectivist school of thought.
I have become, oh my god. That's not what subjectivism is. Subjectivism is a thing, by the way. This is an actual school of art. Don't repeat this. People who understand what they're talking about will look at you weird. Okay. All right. So this just sounds like traditionalism, to be honest. Postmodernism is a critique of modernism. So to present modern art as itself having a postmodernist attitude is a little weird. Postmodernism, I don't know what postmodern literature has this guy read? Is he, like, reading DFW, or like who is he reading? Because I don't know what he's talking about in that, like, you know what this sounds like? This sounds like the Mahler take, where you act like what postmodernism is it means everything's relative, so everything's subjective, so anything can be good regardless, which is not what postmodernism is whatsoever. That's miles off. David Foster Wallace actually had a lot of craft in his writing, and you can read that. I've got a copy of Infinite Jest right over there. I've got a copy of I don't remember where I put my copy of Brief Interviews with Hideous Men, but I've got it here somewhere. We've listened to him read some of his work, and we've listened to interviews with David Foster Wallace on this channel before, on this stream. I like DFW a lot, and you can very clearly tell. I mean, he described himself, DFW, as a grammar Nazi. He actually, in an interview, once said that he was known at Illinois State, my alma mater, as a grammar Nazi. So I don't like this at all. This has nothing to do with postmodernism. The thing about modern art, going back throughout basically the entire 20th century, so for over the past 100 years now, this has been the case. I mean, if you look at, like, surrealist art, this is also the case. Over time, impressionist art, I mean, I mentioned Monet earlier. Over time, the goal of craft became not just to reproduce the world, right? Because this is something that people who are obsessed with quote-unquote realism, not realism as the artistic movement, but the idea of one-to-one portrayals of the world in visual art. This is something you see a lot with, like, Redditors, people who are obsessed with that, one thing that they fail to take into account is that art movements changed when digital movements changed, right? So photography developed as a field, and all of a sudden, there was not just no need, but there was nothing remarkable about being able to, with with graphite or lead or paint or whatever, with marble, to reproduce someone's physique to preserve their image, when you could have a photograph. Because the photograph, however good quality the photo or the video is, it's comparatively perfect. I mean, in our contemporary culture, we look at a photo or a video of someone and we just say that is them, in the way that people in the past would have said about a painting of somebody, right? And that it makes sense for movements to have changed, to have started depicting different things. When you study art, one of the things that if you have a good professor, or if you're reading, hopefully you're being guided by, like, texts written by qualified people and not internet randos. Please do not watch my videos to understand art, or any YouTuber, please, for the love of God, dude. But one of the things that
he just created his own disability. Oh, fucking hell! Did he just say, like, all right, don't read what people on the internet are read. Don't use things that people are posting on the internet to learn about art, and also not my videos. It's like, but are they not watching you to learn from you?
Most people use YouTube as entertainment only, so I would say that this is fine in terms of a lot of people on. You can get bad opinions about stuff, like for example, I, for the longest time, because it was the only form of a media critique that I could find, I used a lot of Nostalgia Critic and Channel Awesome stuff, and then eventually I realized, oh, he's actually kind of crap, and that kind of changed my perspective on things.
I see.
And why did you make the video? That's actually pretty fair. So I would definitely say yes, this is kind of a cop-out in a lot of ways to say, oh, like, don't listen to my video. I would definitely agree with that to a certain extent.
Yeah, don't listen to his video because he doesn't. He wants you to not listen to this video. Therefore, don't listen to that video, and therefore you don't listen to this video, and therefore the loop will go endlessly.
Mm.
Now let's continue.
Yeah.
Halfway decent critiques of art, or who are kind of like teaching you about art movements, I should say, critiques and material written about art movements, is that they will situate them in historical periods. And this tells you a lot about why people would have wanted to paint certain things, to make certain kinds of music at different points in history. And it's really fascinating to look at things that way. And I mean, of course, there's the creation of new inventions, technology. Obviously, I mentioned the camera earlier. I talked about photos and videos, things like that. That's a really useful element to understanding why artistic movements change. I think people have this desire for art movements to not change, which is, as an artist, I can say is very stifling. And as a critic, which I hate being, but it's like the worst thing you can be. But as somebody who likes to criticize and likes to engage,
He hates his own
I hope
job.
at least relatively thoughtfully, I find that it's almost anti-intellectual in a way. But it's not presented as such. It's kind of anti-growth, not economic growth, personal growth, artistic growth. There's a desire to not embrace these changes and these movements and then move beyond them. The correct response to postmodernism is to wonder where we go from here, I think. And that's why a lot of people who talk about postmodernism offer up all of these ideas. David Foster Wallace infamously, I don't mean to be rude, he talked about new sincerity.
What?
Because he noticed that part of what postmodernism diagnosed in terms of its engagement with quote-unquote irony was this difficulty in expressing sincere emotion. And I think we see that a lot in our culture still today. So there is a need for something to respond to that artistically. Wanting things to be like they were does not move you forward.
True.
I would agree with that. The problem is...
But he also said, like, even if you don't want to move forward and you still want to improve upon your art, that it would be a bad thing, he said, right? Because you need to move onwards. That is literally his opinion. Like, you need to move onwards, otherwise you won't improve. Did I get that right? Or
so how I would kind of say is that a lot of people seem to just kind of want to go back to old stuff and not use and kind of just say, oh, the world was better back then. And
that's
to a
always
certain
has been the
extent,
case.
to a certain extent, that is correct. Yes. One thing that I would also, I would like to push back on that somewhat by saying, sometimes it's more just a matter of it's not that we kind of want things to be back the way they were. It's a matter of we have a standard of quality that this just doesn't meet. And it's just basic cause and effect. It's not just, oh, this doesn't have spaceships in it, that therefore I don't want to watch it. It's more just this doesn't make sense logically.
Yeah, because if you look at if you look at modern art, or well, postmodern art, and then you look at art from back in the back in the what 90s? No, not on 90s. The one before that, a little bit earlier, in 1970s, I believe, something like that, where you had surrealism. Oh, that is some much more appreciated art. A lot more techniques have been used. More, there is a higher part of a standard to be accepted among, those people. If you would say, I am an artist back in the day, you would have like a high stand. You would have been like a high person that had like a quality, or you had a quality with the name artist. Right now, if you would say, I'm a modern artist, then everybody's like, all right, so you draw Tumblr images, right? And then you could say yes, and the standard would be very low.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to go back to an era where we have relatively well-written characters. It's one of the reasons why
True.
No Way Home was relatively well received, was because it had good characters by comparison to all the things in the MCU.
Oh, fucking hell, man, MCU. The last movie, holy shit.
Yeah, I haven't watched the Marvels and blacklisting anything with Brie Larson in it.
Don't forget to blacklist Doctor Who as well.
I already blacklisted Doctor Who about 5 years ago. So
good, because that show went downhill fast in one episode. I had no high hopes, and then I was still disappointed.
It's kind of impressive.
It can't.
Exactly.
But it's just, there are ways of improving literature. There's ways of improving character, like seeing, for instance, Joe Abercrombie is one of the best character writers I've ever seen. He's better than George R. R. Martin in a lot of ways. We do not talk. Yeah, I just know roughly that there's some stupid things. I don't know many specifics.
You don't want to know. That's the whole point. You don't want to know. And you don't tell him, Trip. You don't tell him.
Yeah, First Law. First Law is like legit my favorite fantasy series. Like, it's better than Wheel of Time. Like, it's, the characters are better. The world building is really well structured. The dialogue is really fantastic. And it's really funny.
I always read it, comics back in the day, strip comics, European strip comics. And now you still have the same type of the same things, but from a different author. So you still have the same comics, but from a different author, and you can immediately figure out what is going on. You can immediately figure out where the quality has dropped and where the quality has been increased. So yes, the drawings look a little bit more related. Let's say it at least. But then again, the main problem is that the quality of the characters, the character behaviors are a little bit less. How do you say that? Jokes that's supposed to be able to be joked about are no longer be able to be joking about. Like, hey, that guy is bald. Huh? That kind of joke is no longer there because it's insulting to the modern audience. Oh, which is a shame. Back in the day we had like things like Urbanus. It was a comic based on a stand-up comedian in my culture, and it was a Belgian comedian, I believe, and it was ridiculously over the top, ugly looking bastard. All right, imagine you have a child that looks like a grandpa. That was his whole shenanigans. And then you had like a fantasy world combined with the real world, but more like in an alcoholic way. So if you were drunk, you would probably understand the whole comic in one go, which is quite amazing that the author was actually able to get all the jokes that the upstand comedian actually made and then into a real story. So he was like a stand-up comedian, and he told stories, and then he made a comic, and then the author made actually a comic about the whole stand-up comedian part, which is quite cool. Not gonna lie,
Pretty cool.
and pretty creative,
Mhm.
which is missing these days.
So much is missing these days.
Ah, I wish we were back in the old.
Yeah, because most of the media that comes out these days sucks. Very
Indeed.
few exceptions.
Let's continue. I don't think it's gonna be improving from here.
Can't actually move backwards in time, and you can't actually just go backwards in culture. It's not how it works. So I want to hear more of where he's
You
going with this.
good?
But postmodernism does not reject the idea of craft. Modern art even doesn't necessarily reject the idea of craft, but I think it changes how we understand craft. Remember, I talked about levels of craft. Levels is probably not the right word. Types of craft. Style's a loaded word as well in literature. But types of craft, like not just how well do you understand grammar. Not just do you know these story beats? Can you reproduce these things? No. There's also a certain creative element. People say about somebody who's very poetic in their language that they've got a way with words. You see this in people who write really good prose. That it's difficult to put my finger on what I would call that quality, but there's a quality of craft that is not. It's modern, and it's not. I would say it's not like overly new, but it's also not overly obsessed with technical skill, because craft is more than technical skill.
Yeah, but if you do,
Characterized by broad skepticism or
but if you make something if you have good technical skill, and you teach that to a person, the person will be able to recreate the idea that you have in mind, and therefore creating quality, and therefore creating technically art or craft, let's say at least. Right?
I would agree with that. Yeah, like if you are constantly improving your craft, then you just keep going up and up and up and keep
Yeah.
improving.
And as long as you listen to feedback, that would also be helping. Not like those fucking movies not like those movies that have been releasing lately. Fucking hell. Like, yeah, let's insult the fans. Let's go. What could possibly go wrong? Why is everything falling down?
Why does everything suck?
Exactly. Oh, I love that new South Park episode. It was genius.
Oh, it was definitely funny from what I understand. I haven't seen it yet, but just the little bits and pieces I've seen are freaking hilarious. Necessary but not sufficient. I would agree. Yeah. Ryan Johnson, you rang. Yeah, that's accurate. Yeah, Ryan Johnson does think this way. Ryan Johnson doesn't believe in craft, especially since he thinks, like, I'm pretty sure he doesn't, due to the fact that Ryan Johnson has said, "Is there anything about The Last Jedi you would change?" No, not really. I'm like, you're a narcissistic.
Oh, is that the guy that actually made the new Ahsoka series or not?
That would be Dave Filoni, who actually is kind of almost as bad as Ryan Johnson at this point. At least I think he
They're
is.
always all the same in my eyes, honestly. They're all producing the same craftsmanship, which is absolutely turds.
Mhm.
It could have been a good series if it had any character development in it.
Yeah, I just didn't watch Ahsoka. I was like,
I'll be happy about it. You would have been disappointed in multiple ways.
yeah, I just went, it's gonna be crap. It's Dave Filoni. He doesn't know how to write. He's kind of a moron. So I was like, yeah.
Imagine you're a fan of Rebels and then immediately get stabbed in the back and in the front because screw you. That's how I felt.
That's what happens when you write for Disney, man. Doesn't understand who done it. Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, most people kind of agree that Ryan Johnson doesn't know how to do whodunits and is really bad at it.
Mystery boxes. Yes, that will solve everything.
It's actually worse. He doesn't do mystery boxes. He does terrible twists. At least with a mystery box, you can kind of pretend that there's something good going on there. With whodunits, no. You gotta have very clear. You gotta make sure that everything is very, very clear going on, or else you're screwed. Especially with the ending. Yeah, Die with TLJ. Yeah, yeah, it's a good way of putting it. Since Rebels was not good, like Rebels is pretty bad in a lot of ways.
I like the first season.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah, the Inquisitor was a good character, mostly because Jason Isaacs is a really, really charismatic, good actor. But after that, I didn't really watch it. I watched a little bit of Vader, but from what I understand, it was really, really bad.
I think it went downhill after season 2, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well.
Well, have a lovely day, James.
Major IP that has not been destroyed.
Well, technically, Doctor Who has not been destroyed yet. It's not dead yet. It is dead, but it's not dead yet, fully announced. Let's see.
Mission Impossible.
Yeah, Kim Possible. Those major IPs were not destroyed as well.
Well, I wouldn't count that as a major IP, to be perfectly honest.
All right. What would you consider like very popular among everybody that knows it, or what?
I would consider something like Lord of the Rings.
Big boy beta Avatar. There you go. Not the Avatar Last Airbender, but the Avatar, the Blue Monkey people.
Stargate SG-1. MI, fair point. Yeah. Stargate SG-1, yeah, was pretty bad, yeah. Destroyed, well, we don't really have any other word for other than desecrated or...
Murdered. There you go. Stabbed in front of their own funeral.
Game of Thrones
Got ruined.
Was ruined and then came back. Avatar is probably going to get vandalized. Okay, that works. Vandalized.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
vandalized.
Avatar, the third one is gonna be horrible.
Yeah, since they're trying to do something in animation that was in live action that was meant to be animated, and it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's just like you're creatively bankrupt. If you're doing a 1-for-1, what's the point? If you're changing things, I don't know.
Yeah, and the same goes for Avatar: The Blue People. I think the next one that's gonna be coming out is gonna be quite disappointing, mainly because the story is not great.
Avatar was never good to begin with.
True, but it was good in visuals.
Yeah, I just don't. Avatar was never good.
I like the mechs in there. They really were cool.
They've always changed things. Well, what I mean is, it's a visual medium going to another visual medium. That's what I mean. Like if they're doing a 1-for-1 translation, fine, but what's the point? If they're going to change things, you better make it better than the original, which the original has problems. Like, I won't deny that there are problems with the original Avatar. Oh my gosh, that's gonna be ass. Yeah, this is gonna suck. It's all gonna suck.
We're almost there,
let's get-
done.
Because craft is more than technical skill.
Postmodern philosophy is characterized by broad skepticism or relativism and a general suspicion of reason. It also broadly asserts that Western intellectual and cultural norms and values are
Encyclopedia
products of the
Britannica.
ideology of dominant groups and at least indirectly serves their interest.
This isn't untrue,
Thank
but this
you.
is like true of like a dozen philosophical movements. This doesn't say anything about postmodern art. This is postmodern. This is postmodern philosophy.
Mhm.
I don't think postmodern art is necessarily skeptical of reason. Nor do I think that it necessarily critiques Western intellectual and cultural norms and values. I mean, at least not directly. I think that it does mock them. Is often what I experience when I read postmodern literature. So I guess that is critique, but not for the sake of pointing out what is with these ellipses here? Are a product of ... the ideology of dominant ... groups. I wonder what he cut there if that's his edit.
The philosophy covers
Like I just want to say, like you could say this about a lot of modernist philosophy as well.
Mm.
This is I don't know, skeptical of suspicion of reason, not necessarily, but like this other bit about Western intellectual and cultural norms and values being a product of the ideology of dominant groups. That's very broad.
variety of views, many of which are commonly held beliefs within this school of thought.
Whoa, okay. So this is his, when he says subjectivism, what he means. There's no objective reality. There's no scientific or historical truth. Science and technology are not vehicles of human progress, but suspect instruments of established power. Reason and logic are not universally valid. There's no such thing as human nature. Human behavior and psychology are socially determined or constructed. Language does not refer to a reality outside itself. I mean, that's number 6. I find I imagine a lot of postmodern writers would agree, but that's very broad. Language does not. There is no certain knowledge. That's no general theory of the natural or social world can be valid or true. A couple of these I can see attributing to Pomo, right? Like this like no universal, I would say no universal scientific or historical truths might be interesting. That I could see that. I don't know. This is very, this is like half a dozen philosophical schools thrown together, really. It's almost like he's talking about like deconstructionism and or like post-structuralism. But he's talking about postmodernism, but also modernism. Do you guys see what I mean? Like people more learned than myself would have a field day cutting through this because
That's a massive cop out.
A messy cop out? What do you mean?
Basically when he says people more learned than me would have a field day with this. And when you say that, that means that you are admitting I don't know how to argue against this point.
Oh, he doesn't know how to. I had a feeling like it because he was reading things, and all the things that technically Literal Devil is stating here are true. So therefore, they cannot make a valid argument then, because that's what is happening, right?
To a certain extent, yes.
So he got technically wrecked. Amazing.
Kind of, yeah.
Boom. Get wrecked, son. Never gets old, not gonna lie.
So I could argue about flanderized, yeah. Changed the original material that made the original organic fanbikes horrified and angry, yeah. That's true. The story and characters suck. Thank you. That's how I feel about it as well. Objective reality.
Objective reality. Well, you could say technically that the reality is objective, but that would also be subjective then, right?
Well, the idea is just that everything is metaphorical, I guess. It's just at least with a piece of media, we could at least say, okay, what we are seeing, like this is actually happening in front of us, right? Like we both agree that we can see this.
This great video, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
However, our opinions are technically subjective because it's our opinions, our thoughts. Well, they're not written down, therefore they are subjective. Right?
Yeah, I guess.
And if you don't write down your world in your, if you don't write down how your world works in your writing, then technically your world is subjective. That's
I
actually
guess
quite
so.
funny. Imagine, you making a imagine you're writing a story where the world constantly changes. When some person with high charisma is talking about the world, like, yes, I have seen these beautiful flowers in years. Ah, that reminds me, and then immediately changes the whole path to something like with the Last Witch, where they constantly change on their sins. It's great. Like the dog has no sins, so therefore he has a happy path. But if you look at the cat and the other cat, it's like, oh, instant hell, death, despair, cave of despair.
Media is an author's subjective creation. I would say that we all have a subjectively agreed more or less arc perception. Then the center would not hold. Media's, well, we can at least see, we both agree that the events of at least the events of Lord of the Rings, our interpretation of said events will vary. That is definitely accurate. I can definitely concur with that. But I would say that media is as close to objective as we can get, just due to the fact that, okay, we agree that we both have watched the same movie. Our interpretations will vary, but
Yes, correct.
This is like, I don't even know. It's like he thinks postmodernism is like, it's modernist, but it's also idealist. And
Basically.
it's I don't know. It's deconstructionist. I just feel like
Yes.
it's hard. And then he says
It
subjectivist as well.
degrades
Just throws me for a loop.
the art
I have no
that
idea
it
what he's talking about.
represents.
But perhaps the most relevant when discussing the subjective school of artistic expression concerns the idea that there is no objective reality and that reason and logic are not universally valid. In other words, everything is arbitrary. Objectivity in art never existed, but generations of writers and critics saw as objective craft, for creative craftsmanship has only ever been a matter of opinion. So pray.
Whoa, no. Wait, no.
No.
No, that's not even true of postmodern critique. Wait, that's not even true of postmodernism. You think? Wait, hang on. I'm sorry. Do you think like Thomas Pynchon and John DeLillo and Mary Caponegro and David Foster Wallace? These are all my favorite postmodern authors. I'm sorry. You think all these postmodern theorists who have studied postmodern, you think that they think everything is just opinion? This is wrong.
No, it's modern people.
Wait, all these modern people think that and then the
Well-
opinion. Yeah, okay, I see how that goes.
Well, basically, it's just what he's saying is not necessarily that a lot of the, like, I would say that there's some element of postmodern thinkers that aren't idiots, the people who actually study this kind of thing for a living. But then we get to the people like Ryan Johnson or Payne and McKay or Rafe Judkins, who think about using postmodernism as good, but they don't understand it or know how to utilize it well. I would say that enters into the realm of problems.
Also, I like how praise is glorified. That reminds me of that reminds me of that woman that made Indiana Jones. I don't know how she called.
Yeah.
Kennedy, I think.
Modern, present day. I think it's just the modernism versus postmodernism. That's the only real difference. That's what it's talking about, really.
It reminds me still that, postmodernism reminds me of like, it's modern, but it's in our apocalypse. Oh, that's what reminds me of postmodernism. But I know that it is not the real thing, but still. That's how I see postmodernism in my eyes every single time I see that word. An apocalypse ready to happen.
Nobody will say you can't like. Yeah, that's a good thing. Yes, that is also accurate. Yeah.
It's folks who want to use just my opinion as a shield to crack the foundation of a media, basically.
I would concur with that.
Because if I would make something in postmodernism and you don't like it, then it's your opinion. Other people will pay high bucks for it. Then they agree with me. But if you don't like it, it's just your opinion. It's quite easy to defend it then, technically. It's quite easy to make things like, oh, you don't like it? Well, that's just your opinion. Therefore, I have done nothing wrong. And that means that their standards are also way lower because they never improve, because their criticism is just going to be only praises. So they will never improve upon their artwork, regardless of their feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you would give them like an opinion like, done, that character you wrote, I don't like her. And then you would say like, that's just my opinion. That's just your opinion. Go away, scrub. I have better things to do. Look at the money I just made.
Oh, I wish I made money on this.
Nah, no worry. You will get there.
One day. It'll take time, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why art takes time.
Audience's opinion is what makes it something successful. Yeah.
This is not. Spoiler alert. He's completely wrong. This is.
No.
What?
No, that's not. That's not what this means. We're abusing word. Very, very upsetting experience.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Did he just made a nervous? Did he made a nervous laugh because he went full insecure?
Yeah.
And then he even contradicted himself.
Mm-hmm. The thing, yeah, you have to make everything count. Yeah, I would concur with that. That's a good way of putting it, actually.
Exactly. That's how you learn. That's how you improve. Don't take everything for granted. After all, hard times create great men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're almost finished, actually. Let's keep going.
Praise for creative work becomes glorified, while negative critique is frowned upon, because when objective standards are removed from...
Wait, what do you mean? Negative critique is frowned upon?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Postmodernism is like 90% being a cynic. It's a deeply like cynical. Postmodern literature is very cynical. In my opinion, at least, it comes off that way. I think that's its biggest problem. Is that it's hard to grasp for any like meaningful sincerity through all of the irony and cynicism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Negative critique is frowned. Postmodern. This is the YouTuber thing, where postmodernism is everything I don't like. Postmodernism is when you're mean to me, actually. Postmodernism is when people like things that they shouldn't like. Postmodernism is when you're wrong. Dude, what is going on? I feel like I'm descending a stairwell into insanity.
Basically, if you don't like it, don't buy my books.
This is the dumbest thing I have ever heard anybody say. No, this isn't okay. If you spend a minute in academia, one of the things that you'll notice is that people who carry out literary critique spend a lot of time searching for frameworks to use. They're really interested in finding a theoretical framework to build on, right? Because like, if you create a critique, your criticism might be true from a certain point of view because you're operating under a particular school of thought. This is not the same as everything being relative. Okay? It's subject to a particular point of view, a specific, like a school of thought, right? So you get very different types of literary critiques coming from people who are feminists versus who are like Marxists versus who are like idealists versus like there's all type like postmodernists, surrealists, you know, I don't know, name an artistic movement. People interested in these ways of thinking are very intrigued by different things, and they therefore analyze in very different ways.
Mhm.
Okay, and I think it's fair to say that some of them are more right than others, but you buy into a framework as soon as you start to say things like that, which is why people who are writing these academic critiques of literature are usually, when you read their essays, they're very open about it. They don't hide that they're using a certain framework. And my advice to this fellow and to any of his fans would be, if you don't think you're using a framework, it's because you're not aware enough of the framework that you're using. You are, inevitably. The problem is that you have to kind of learn about these things to a certain extent. And after a certain point, you can start intentionally adopting frameworks and working within them. And
Is
over
he
time, you
gaslighting
hopefully, you know,
people?
if you're a decent critic, you kind of get a sense of how to formulate critique via different frameworks, and that's good. But this is
Well, so I do want to say no, he's not trying to gaslight. Since gaslighting is a very, very technical term.
All right.
So gaslighting is prolonged attempting to make you think that something is not real, or that reality is different over a long period of time. This doesn't count as gaslighting. This is just lying. And let's kind of go over it. So
Okay.
the problem is just you're critiquing something from just a simple law of cause and effect. This doesn't make sense from a simple, basic logical perspective. We don't really care how, like, the author's intentions functioned into it. We're just saying, okay, is this functional as a story? We don't really care about anything else in this. Would you agree? Like, we don't really care about.
Yes. As long as it's a good story, nobody should care about it, except the reader who reads it. Right?
Yeah.
So continue.
People call this theory. The idea that negative critique has no merit because there's not a single objective standard for craft is nonsense. It's nonsense. You have to be a charlatan to think this. It's nonsense.
A lot of writers do think this, though.
Yes, exactly.
Essentially, everything the pretentious arts
That's
do
the main
is
problem.
dismissed, and the mark of a modern artistic masterpiece is measured by
If there
theory,
is
ultimate
if there is
measurement.
no if there is no standard, then
no longer judged by perfected craftsmanship.
everything should be art,
So you have a
which
roster
kind
that
of
is
sucks.
rapidly meaningless.
That's he putting Last Jedi up on the screen like that. Yeah, postmodernism is everything you don't like. Remember all that rage bait content about the Last Jedi? Ooh. It feels weird
I
to
think
harp on the
he's
Last Jedi
salty.
when Rise of Skywalker exists. Also, can I just say that? I just want to say that. But I think that really has nothing to do with the problem with this.
Well, it's just that The Last Jedi wears its postmodernism on its sleeve, whereas Rise of Skywalker is just stupid.
Yes, indeed. Just stupid. I would say a shithole, but you know.
That too.
A black hole of creativity.
Yeah, black hole of ass.
Just donkeys everywhere.
He said he's not putting. Yeah, he kind of is. Yeah.
Oh, he definitely is. He's literally lying.
Yes, that is accurate. Precisely. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Besides, I really like how LD is actually just putting things down how they are technically placed, and that helps a lot with, you know, writing down a story. Knowing where to start and where to end is actually quite nice to know. And how to start is also very nice to know. And therefore, I really like how do you say that? How do you say that? It teaches you all the things you need to form your own opinion upon it by step, and that's a very good thing to do. Because not everybody if you put everything in like a big giant blah 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 blah, then you get lost big time. And I
Definitely.
really like that he puts everything like bit by bit. Like, all right, if you want to write a story, here's the thing that you need to be worried about. We're gonna go step by step how to do it. Okay, cool, thanks. That's exactly what I needed. I don't need somebody to just talk about, what is the thing? Oh yeah, did you know about this bird? I don't like this bird. Yeah, you should also hate this bird. Anyway, here are my sponsors. Anyway, here's this, and let's get started. It's like, you son of a bitch. I trusted you in getting things good. But yeah, deconstruction is very important to understand how a story works. And if you cannot deconstruct a story, you mainly will not. If I'm saying this correctly, yeah. If you cannot deconstruct a story, then you won't see the flaws in your story work, which is quite important, because if you cannot see your flaws, it means that the people that are reading it is going to be seeing also the flaws, and that will harm your craftsmanship or your rating on the art. So by preventing that from happening, you're actually improving upon your own art, and therefore learning even more on how to prevent it, and therefore creating quicker new work, technically. So it's very important.
Yeah, it's a destruction. Yeah, it was Ryan Johnson pissing all over Star Wars.
God. Craft is dismissed and judged by theme alone. No, it's not.
It is.
It's not.
It is.
No, it's not even a little bit true.
Yes, it
Has
is.
this guy ever been inside a university?
Indeed. Don't you know the teams?
Ever
My
been in
themes.
Like a program in
Do
the
you remember
humanities?
Skywalker?
Like like an English
I
department?
remember
Has he ever studied literature? Because you'd be disabused of these notions very quickly. You'd be a freshman, and you'd stop thinking this. 2 semesters in, and you'd know better. What is going on?
2 years in? I don't think so.
Shapeless blobs of nonsense, each failing on a critical or even basic level of craft, like character, plot, basic logic, or even contradicting previously established canon and rules, yet are hailed as great works because it's starting a conversation, trying to say
Still mad about the Holdo maneuver, by the way.
something. Or, good golly gosh, won't somebody think of the themes works that focus on subverting our expectations, reimagining
This guy treats. My God, this guy talked about theme earlier as if it was interchangeable with morals, and now he's acting like other people are the ones who are being reductive with themes. Man, it must be really easy to win a fight against an opponent made of straw. Damn.
old stories with modern themes being different, or showing that our old heroes are actually flawed, while dismissing craft and celebrating.
Well, the problem is he's actually right. a lot of people have said exactly this.
Yep. Subverting your expectations, reimagining old stories with a modern theme, because my theme never gets old. Never gets old. I love it. I like it.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I like to move it, move it. I like
He likes to move it, move it. He like to move it. Alright, so out of the world. King Julian.
with morals. He's acting like other people are ones who are the blame. Yeah, well, that's basically what Disney did.
Yeah. Kinda.
You are not wrong about liking this artwork. Oh, well, you are wrong to not liking this artwork. So therefore, you're a bigot, because also they are definitely not listening to your criticism. They're even gonna belittle you if you criticize, or even try to ban you, or try to how do you say that? I don't know, all the horrible things that a person not supposed to be doing online. It's great how time never changes.
No, it doesn't.
All right, let's continue. Otherwise, we're probably being here for quite a while.
Man, it must be really easy to win a fight against an opponent made of straw. Damn.
Old stories with modern themes being different, or showing that our old heroes are actually flawed, while dismissing craft and celebrating the moral.
Hang on.
Yeah, like Hercules and
or showing that our old
how do you
heroes
say
are.
that? The guy Achilles. There you go.
Reimagining old stories with modern themes. Tolkien did that. Yeah, he's got like he does medieval literature
Nope.
with fantasy elements, and he has a whole like anti-industrial theme in his writing.
He
What are you
tried
talking
to. What was it
It's
again? He tried
Showing
to.
old heroes as flawed. Yeah,
keep-
there's a ton of like critiques of like the monarchy, and figures that and you know parodies more so. And they're held up as like flawed characters a lot of the time in Shakespeare. I mean, he had to be careful because he didn't want to get in trouble. But yeah, no, what the fuck? This is so goofy.
Actually flawed. While dismissing craft and celebrating the moral might feel enlightened, it also dismisses the need for artists to perfect their craft, since all one needs is the right themes, and therefore gives the artist a convenient way.
My advice here would be that this gentleman should consider attempting to improve his craft as a critic, because this is deeply laughable.
No, it's actually
Also, he was
No,
focused
it's
on
actually quite
morals primarily earlier
good.
when he talked about the
Not gonna
the
lie.
scorpion and the frog. I'm not gonna laugh. I'm not gonna say it. So, what? He didn't even talk about the craft really of the scorpion and the frog all that much.
You didn't need
You know?
to.
Like, what's one thing?
You're
like,
literally
the
explaining
way
it
to
to
tell
us.
that
It
story.
was
The thing about
educational.
the scorpion and the
It
frog
was
that makes it
just
hit really hard.
making things clear.
One craft-based thing.
If you
I don't know,
cannot
it adds on
understand
dialogue.
that, I don't know how
Scorpion gets
the
the last word,
fuck
and
you
he's
learned
the
things
villainous
in
character.
school, I guess.
So it feels like villainy wins. You know, it has that effect. That's an effect of the craft. You know, well, having the last line hit really hard like that. Yeah, but he doesn't mention that. He talked about like what it taught you from a morally didactic perspective, and now he's ragging on other people for reducing craft to that. But he earlier talked about craft as if it was theme. This is an Ouroboros. It's like he's criticizing himself. The lack of awareness, my friends, that you have to be a YouTuber sometimes. I swear.
To wave off criticism by declaring it your opinion and freely accepting praise as valid, the commentator can maintain an air of superiority, reveling in their supposed refined artistic tastes.
Okay. I don't think it's people who disagree with you that are reveling in their superiority, Mr. Dark Glowy Eyes Man in Suit Rantsona. You betrayed your
He's salty.
your
He's
opinion
salty.
as,
The salt is really getting to him.
indeed. Trans are good. People. Yeah, a lot of people defend postmodernism like this. Yeah.
Exactly. You cannot criticize this person because, you know, the person is trans. Therefore, if you do so, you're a bigot. Oh, the insecurity in this guy was immediately noticeable with the laugh. And also the uhs. The uhs are everywhere. I know that I do it also, but that means that I'm also insecure? Yeah, maybe. Depends. But yeah, you can definitely hear the insecurity with his laugh. It's like a nervous laughter, like, I know that I am wrong, but whew, I might need to dodge this bullet.
Indeed. Yeah. Patrick Williams has never produced good content. Yeah. So they're definitely to blame. Yeah. Is this bait? You find
Basically. They're
Yeah.
always shooting themselves in the foot. That's the whole point.
disagreements, your intellectual adversaries, as being a bunch of silly goofballs here, and yourself, you've got this air about you. I don't think that they are the overly self-serious, smug ones. I think that it's quite the opposite in this scenario. That's a deeply ironic sentiment.
Just right unironically said, I think it's about evolving from a critic and not just thinking about plot holes.
Lol.
And he made a terrible video trying to debunk the idea of objectivity in art, and often misquoted the philosophers that he was supposed to be using as his argument. It was really
great.
funny.
It's great.
To express in this situation. This is like dramatic irony where a character isn't aware of their own situation.
By the way,
boy, dude, I don't even know where to begin.
Pause
yeah,
a bit.
this just feels like
to,
it's rage bait.
I would like to say
It
something
really just
here.
feels like this is that type of content that is designed to get you to have your whatever it is, like your 2-minute hate of the day, 6 minutes and 43 seconds, as the case would be with a video like this. I don't know. It seems like people who watch YouTube videos are addicted to being haters. You know, and I'm not saying that because they're critical of films like The Last Jedi or Captain Marvel or whatever.
Exactly. He is not contradicting
you can be critical of
himself.
that stuff.
LD is such a good guy. He literally does everything by the book. Therefore, you know exactly what he's talking about, which is quite nice. Even for a person that doesn't understand English that good, I even could understand what he's saying. Besides, look at LD's picture in the background. People fear geniuses that they don't understand.
Aristotle.
Because, this guy is literally nervous laughing the whole fucking scene. It's like, yep, I see where the fear is kicking in, Mr. Mrs.
Indeed.
I actually hate the MCU. People know this about
Thank
me.
you.
Oh, you did?
I'm critical of new Star Wars.
Impressive.
I think that's good, but I think it's weird and equally as cowardly as suggesting everything is relative. I think it is very cowardly intellectually and very stupid. I'm just gonna say that it's dumb. It's a silly goofy guy thing to
Cowardly
do,
intellectual.
where you suggest
okay.
that your framework is objectivity. Your framework is that you have no framework. Basically, this is unintelligent.
Yeah.
It's not how criticism works.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm very
No, if you look at things objectively, therefore you can see your mistakes. If you are constantly in one room where everybody is saying like, "Good job, you did well," you never learn. Therefore, you cannot improve your art. Therefore, you make errors, and therefore your art will become less and less good.
I'm
Indeed.
sorry. Go again. GG, go next.
By saying secret genius.
GG, go next.
And because our tastes are simply too pedestrian, in the subjectivist mindset, the problem
Dude, this guy is so mad. Holy shit, he's seething.
No, he's actually fairly calm.
Yes, he's one of the calmest dudes I ever
Other people think
see
they're smarter than
and hear about. Not like you.
Well, kind of the funny thing is, like he's saying, adopt no framework, and he thinks that sucks, and I'm like, why is that bad? Let's take that as a
You
framework.
can have so much more flexibility with that, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. And flexibility means that you can adapt better and therefore can adapt to audiences that you normally supposed to be not be able to reach. Which is quite important sometimes when you want to sell books or movies. Not gonna lie. I'm still a bit salty about those fucking movies that came out these weeks. Fucking hell.
Yeah,
I hate
freaking
it.
sick. Unintelligent, interesting. Yeah, what the heck are your arguments? Yeah, I don't even know what he's arguing.
The funny thing is,
He's
they might be wrong,
arguing
but
with
they might be right.
himself.
It's
Don't
not-
worry about
I
it.
mean, there's a lot of
because our tastes are simply too pedestrian, in the subjectivist mindset, the problem
dude. This guy is so mad. Holy shit, he's seething. He's seething that other people think they're smarter than him. The funny thing is, they might be wrong, but they might be right. It's not. I mean, there's a lot of dumb people on the internet, but the bar is not that high there.
theme can make up for even the most dismal of crafts. An ideology resulting in a modern art ideal that has become a rampant plague on modern art. Seemingly forgotten are the words of Pablo Picasso: "Learn the rules like a pro, so you can break them like an artist." So welcome to paradise. Let's go.
Whoa, hang on.
The Pablo Picasso: "Learn the rules like a pro."
Yes,
on.
learn the rules.
Wait a
And
minute.
so do I.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So you can break them like an artist, but this would imply that the artwork itself can have the rules broken in them. You would say
Yes,
that that's bad art,
that
right?
creates creativity.
Like if you got
As
these
long
standards
as
for
it
how a story should
doesn't
be,
annoy the viewer.
and you see that a film doesn't meet those standards, the response apparently, I believe, as I'm given to understand it, from his perspective, would be, that's not a good film, is it? That's not a very
No,
good
it's
book,
not.
is it? Picasso's sentiment here, again, he's quoting people who would disagree with him. Like, this is the opposite of what he's saying. This guy is like if Pablo Picasso was like, learn the rules like a pro so you can follow them forever, otherwise you are bad at art, and you have a poor...
What?
That's not what
No.
he said.
If you learn the rules like a pro, you can break them like an artist. And an artist uses creativity to implement those broken rules.
And also, it's just kind of the idea of the hero's journey. You can use the hero's journey and kind of say, okay, so here's the beats. These are in every story. How can we kind of... I'm probably going to just do them because that's just how stories work. Like,
Yes.
we're generally going to do these things.
You meet a mentor, you
Mhm.
guide the hero to the journey, he beats the bad guy, and lives happily ever after. But wait, what if we now let the hero die and have him a tragic end at the end? Huh? We broke the rule,
Yeah.
but we made something unique into it.
Yeah. Or, yeah, honestly, like, that would be interesting. Like, that's
It's not
kind of-
hard to understand. And this guy is fuming with rage, like, how dare you put this into my mouth? Ah! I cannot argue with this. No. He's calling LD. He's calling LD bad because he doesn't know how to argue with this. It's
Yeah.
self-defense.
Or
It's
craft.
clearly heard.
Learn the rules like a pro so that you can follow the rules like a pro.
Mhm.
Dude, that is goofy.
No, it's just follow a consistent set of standards. That's what he's saying, that basically people
Yes.
reject standards. That's been what's been happening for stuff like The Last Jedi, the MCU, etc.
Yep. And if
Bro,
you
so
don't
you
have
make them.
standards,
Welcome to paradise.
your quality goes down.
Guys, you are bad at arts and you have a poor craft. Learn the
Mhm.
rules like a pro so that you can follow the rules like a pro.
Mhm.
Dude, that is goofy.
But
There's an immense
Even-
amount of flexibility in the rules of fiction, where it's just keep
Even-
consistent characters. If you're going to surprise your audience, make sure that it doesn't come out of nowhere and is relatively
Yes.
satisfying. That's
also make sure that it's believable.
yeah.
Bro, so you
But
can make like an artist.
it-
So welcome to paradise. Let's
Wait, pause. So
It is unbelievable that a dude with a Rantsona in a suit called Literature Devil with that type of vocal delivery is calling other people smug. Have you lost your dang mind? Holy shit! I knew that was going to be bad.
No,
I
it
knew
wasn't.
that was going to be bad.
it was absolutely
That was
good.
very,
That was a
very
good
good.
take. Not gonna lie.
Oh my god! I want to vomit. That was horrible. That was.
Oh
one of the
no,
worst
you're
things
gonna
I've ever
vomit
watched
because
on
you're
YouTube.
nervous.
Oh dude.
Weak.
Oh dude. I've been wounded. I've been
Ah,
wounded.
get wrecked. You got wounded.
Oh, I should do a video like that where I have a Rantsona. Why do I not have a Rantsona?
What a
I should
Rantsona?
commission a Rantsona.
Well, why do you need
like
to go
different
for going to a sauna then?
That'd be good, right?
Rantsona, basically it means that you like rant. It's a combination of the two words rant and persona. Like it's a persona
Ah.
that you use to go on a rant with.
Oh, like Laserbeck. Yeah. That one. He's actually quite good at his point of views, but he uses a pick and rants about certain things that are, obviously that the person that he's arguing about, the person that he's arguing is wrong technically. Himself is not wrong. He's actually good in the right because he does all the research. But
Mhm.
yeah, but what he said, like, if you're pro at the rules as an art with artists, and then break the rules as an artist, because that means that if you cannot draw, you can still improve upon that and learn how to draw and then improve upon that work. Even though the quality might not be as good as another person, you will be still improving upon yourself, which is more important than actually comparing your work with somebody else. You need to always compare your own work with the work that you did before. And then you can see the improvement and therefore improve even more further. And then eventually you will find a way how to draw. Whether it's by cartoonish style, by realistic style, by surrealistic style. It all depends on where you're good at. And you just need to find it. That's always the thing.
Mm.
Even you can draw, done.
I would prefer not to even make the attempt.
Okay, then use AI art. There you go.
Hmm.
Problem solved.
Fair enough.
If you don't need skills, you're just gonna go for Photoshop skills. Put a bear on a unicycle, and then give him a fish to juggle about.
So, my friends, I actually would like your help with
can help.
something. I am looking to pick a cover for the next couple of books in
Ooh.
my Dragonlord Annals series. Let me just create a new folder.
Can you not go for like bigger screen, bigger pictures, so that everybody can see it?
I'm about to, yeah. Let me see. So I need to move some of the ones that I've already used into.
The usable ones.
Well, it's just that I've already used. I mean,
It's not smart producing twice the same image.
That did not work as I anticipated. 1 second.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just take your time. Everything will be just fine. You're using an Apple, I think, right?
No, Microsoft.
Is this Microsoft 11 then?
I think so.
Ugh. Horrible looking UI.
So
Ooh.
probably not. So I'll use this one.
Okay.
Let me see. So I'll use this one. So kind of thinking that it's going to be, since there's a couple of important scenes. There's a battle over a there's the young girl that kind of emerges from lava along with the dragon. So I'm thinking that this is pretty close.
Yeah, true.
Another one is this one. I like this one.
I see why you would like it.
This one's pretty good because that's actually a picture of one of the dragons. But I don't
Nice.
want to be too close to Aragon in that regard, though. But I could use that one. I do like this one. This one's actually a very good one. I do like this one as well. I like this one too. This one I like as well. So for the people in the chat, out of the various images that I've shown, what would you say is the one you guys would probably want me to do? What do you think, Johan?
Oh, you said only the chat. Okay. I think the one with I think the one where the girl is with the dragon himself in the fire pit is actually one of the better ones. Not
Like
gonna
this one?
lie.
Like this one?
That one or the one the one of the first ones that you showed. Let's see where it is.
This one?
Yes, this one. I do also like this one. Not gonna lie.
Mhm.
I really like how the dragon is actually going upwards and the girl is standing there.
Post to server. Yeah, the images go by, but I too fast. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking that this is probably the one I'll go with. I'm gonna put Dreams of Dragonlords up for.
Sweet.
Well, actually, this is actually meant to be. It's a young girl and her dragon, because this is, and basically her dragon gets roided up through magic because her aunt has a much larger creature than she does, and so this is the only way to even the odds. So I guess we'll just go with
Nice.
that then. Okay.
Well,
go
I
with
wish you good luck on the publishing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
So, was I right that it would actually get worse?
It was pretty bad, yeah.
All right. Good to know.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you need to thank Legacy for this. He actually
Yeah.
was the one that posted this in the LD's chat. And I was like, oh, this is actually a good team to talk about as well. Because, well, you're a writer. And I'm also writing. So why not talk about this kind of teams?
Definitely. So I think we'll go with that. So let's kind of go with some styling. So
Ooh.
styling on this cover. So I do
You
want
see
to
me loading. They hating. They always try to catch me riding.
So I'm
Ooh.
thinking. So in terms of the design, I'm thinking I'm gonna choose this one, this kind
the
of styling.
That one is good, but I also like the bottom left one. That one.
That one.
Yeah.
I think the one problem with this is that it obscures part of it.
True. But can you
So-
move the image?
I can, but it would make it so that it has a line of black right here. And
The
usually
line of
this
black is
used
not
for-
necessarily bad, not gonna lie, but if you move it a little bit towards that the girl is actually more representable, like that.
I think another problem is that this looks like a textbook.
Ah,
the
yeah,
cover.
true. But I do like the black part of it actually. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
The best part about all of this is that
Don't
you
care
can
much for the font. Yeah, the font is. This is just the standardized font. I'm definitely going to change the font.
Yeah, the font that is absolutely just basic ass garbage.
Yeah. So what font do you think I should use?
Roman style.
Times New Roman. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see if we even have that.
I don't
Doesn't look
know.
like we do.
That's a very basic one.
I think I actually like that. That actually looks
Yeah.
pretty good. Oh, you like serifs, Balerian? Let me see if they have serifs.
Ooh, and then make it. I don't know if you can also change the colors or not.
I can actually change the colors. Yes. It doesn't look like
nice.
they have serifs for some reason.
Can you try like maybe something like light yellow?
So TNR has serifs. So it's not a matter of I don't have it in docs, since this isn't docs. This is Kindle Direct Publishing's.
It's
cover
basic as you
creator.
want. Oh, thank
So-
you, Count.
So,
I'm indeed a basic person.
So what I have is a serifs? You mean let me see, Montega. Let's see, where did I PT Sands, Philosopher. Is this one? Delgo Sans Serif. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna go down the line essentially. TNR and Sen. So I imagine it does. This one just is on a different.
No, that one is horrible. Open Sense is not a good one to go for. That
Okay.
is also not suitable for your writing.
So in terms of,
Try to go for yellow. Yellow, yeah, yellow. I think that's a very good one to go for. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, this kind of yellow. Okay, we'll go with that. Montega. Okay, let me switch to Montega 1 second. Let me just scroll down, pull that up. This one. What do you
That
think?
looks good.
Okay. And do we want to change this to yellow as well? Same
Oh
color?
well, yeah. Just go for yellow.
Okay. And then
That one also for yellow, and then you have a very good looking. Yeah, there you go. That looks
Okay.
actually quite good and also readable, because white on a red background is horrible to look at, and because you have like a dark red, yeah, you want more of a yellow, golden, orange. Yeah, but I don't know if you can select manually the colors, like going into a color circlet. I don't think so, right?
I can't really do his color circuit. I can kind of do a range.
Because you need to make it be able to. The problem with black is that when you have a red background, black will actually made it fade away into the background, which is horrible because you still need to make sure that the book is visible on the title screen. As you can see, it's horrible. That's why I would not have suggested it.
So, yeah, I put red in there. Yeah, I think orange suits it actually okay.
All right. Maybe a
more
lighter
gold.
orange.
Yeah, it's yellow's a bit, so nope, the more gold gets lost. Okay, so brighter yellow is better. Okay.
Yes, because it's very visible. Because you're already having all the colors of yellow and red and black. So therefore having a nice flashy yellow that is like, that you normally see at nighttime when people are walking down the street. It's very important to have that because it actually lights up the whole damn thing. And also makes things more readable.
So what do you
Like,
think of this color? This
Yeah,
about
that's
right?
good. That's
Okay.
good.
And then I think that the styling on this, do you want to switch it to...
You could do the same style if you want to.
Let's switch it to... Switch that one to Montega as well.
Yeah, there you go. Now you have actually quite a good one. The only thing you now need to do is save it so that you don't get lost.
Now let's put that in. Preview. All right, thank you guys. I'm going to be releasing this in a few days. I'm going to be releasing this one in a couple days. That's the plan at least.
Nice.
At least. I'm just, and then over the next few weeks, I'm going to try to release at least 4 more. Well, 3 more actually.
Oh, you're doing good work then. Nice.
Yeah. Well, I have it. I just need to.
Your book cannot be downloaded. Lol.
Not yet, anyway. I just need to. It'll be available for pre-order on Saturday, and I'm just going to release it then. No, it's fine.
Sweet.
It's fine. No, it's fine. I didn't make it on time, and then honestly, like I'm definitely going to be putting in any beta reader feedback. That's going to go in edition number 2. Once I'm going to keep it on just Kindle for right now. I won't do a hardcover copy quite yet. I will find that useful, and I'll make sure to put that in over the next few days. All I need to do now is just finish Dragon Blaster Season 2, and then maybe do another pass on a couple other books. The 2 other books that I'm planning to finish. But I've got some time to take one last pass at the Dragonlord Annals. Yikes, how so? Yikes. But yes, since once I get the beta reader feedback, I'll make sure to put it in hard copy. Eek. Yikes, eek. What do you mean?
Eek, yikes, bookity bookity book. Ah, there is a mouse in the house.
What's that in reference to, I wonder?
I have no idea.
Me neither. Alrighty. Well, that was fun, and thank you so much for helping me with all this. I'm definitely just going to be putting it into taking all of the feedback that I've gotten for the book into account. Dragon Blaster's back. Yes, I am going to be. Thankfully, I already have a cover for that one, which I'm very excited.
Back again.
Yeah, the let me actually pull the
Even more advertisement. Why did you not put this in the thumbnail? No. All the innocent souls that are watching at 2.30 are all seeing these new ads of Dragon Blasters because it's gonna be a blast of a book to read.
Yeah, so So this was the cover
Oh, the
that
one that Space Junk made. Nice.
Black Jacket actually.
Oh, Black Jacket, this one. Nice.
Yeah.
Look good. It looks good though.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm currently writing the scene that is representative of this, and I'm pretty excited for how it's going to turn out. But yeah, he pretty much followed all of my specifications to a T, and I'm just like, dang, that was great.
Well, that's an artist for you. They are very precise as long as you give them good info.
Mm-hmm. Let me see.
Good, good. Yes, indeed. Black Jacket is indeed a very good artist, not gonna lie.
Yeah, so I'm very excited for that one. I know Balerion is excited for Dragon Blaster as well. Probably a few others as well. I don't know. But when you'll be getting Dragon Blaster Season 3, I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to be finishing some other books in the meantime.
You're gonna be able to sell it when they have the morning cereal. Duh.
Possibly. We'll have to see. I'm not sure.
It's the rare epic.
Yeah, I just need to ask. The main thing is I just need to ask Black Jacket how he would like to be credited specifically.
It's important.
Yeah,
Not
I know.
gonna
I did. It was a very, very accommodating. Gave me a really good deal on his art, which I very much appreciated.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm excited. This is gonna be good. I'm excited for Dragon Blaster breakfast cereal. That would be funny. I did include the pansexual raccoon in there as
you did follow mine. You did follow my advice. Good.
Well, essentially, it's basically how it works is the omniscient narrator gets a companion.
And then complains that all his pants are always getting stealed.
No, he's just basically Balerion.
Amazing. There you go. Problem solved.
And keeps going on about pans and uses a lot of Balerion when he's trolling, because I think that's funny.
That's some good humor right there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I really liked how we reviewed this review of a review.
Mm-hmm.
Went pretty good. Not gonna lie.
Indeed. I'm not a pansexual raccoon. No, it's just your character.
Get wrecked. Learn to live with it. Let the dreams not be dreams.
Dragon Blaster whoopee cushion.
That would be actually quite cool.
Maybe. Might be a long time before I get that, though. All right. Well, we will call it good for today. Thank you all for coming. Adios.
Au revoir. Bonjour and bonjour. Redite.